Hi, guys, and welcome to Classic TV Facts and Trivia. Thank you for stopping by. Today's video is on Little House on the Prairie, and it's on Michael Landon Feuded with Karen Grassle, who played Carolyn Ingalls, and other behind-the-secret stories from the show. Let's start with that one. Michael Landon and Karen Grassle feuded on set. Though Ma and Paul were always a great team on screen, in real life things weren't quite different. In advance of the second season, Karen Grassle asked for a raise. In a 2021 interview with the New York Post, she claimed that Michael Landon blocked it by saying that her character was not that popular and that her pay should be commensurate with that of the show's younger actors. After this dispute, Grassle claimed that Landon, who also produced the show, began to leave her out of storylines, give her the cold shoulder, and talk down to her on set. She felt bullied and said Landon made demeaning comments in her presence. Luckily, the situation was resolved, and she eventually received her raise, and she and Landon reconnected before his 91 death. Very grateful that we mended our fences, she said. The set was so hot, cast members passed out. Little House on the Prairie period-accurate costumes are part of what made the show so much fun to watch, but it was less fun to wear the outfits, especially in the California heat. Costumes of female cast members typically included tights, petticoats, boots, and long-sleeve dresses with eye hooks up the back. All of this was worn during the daytime outdoor shoots in Simi Valley, California, where the average temperature never drops below 60 degrees, generally tops 80 degrees throughout the summer. According to Allison Ingram, who played Nellie Olson, the temperature was over 100 degrees on her first day on the set, and that wasn't counting the heat generated by the lights using for filming. In a full costume, she began overheating almost immediately. As we were standing there setting up the scene, I started to feel woozy, but I didn't dare say anything. I didn't want anyone to think I wasn't up to the job or I was some kind of wuss. Ingram wrote in her memoir, Confessions of a Prairie Bitch, but overheating made delivering her lines a struggle. I was so weak, I sounded like I was speaking from a hospital bed. Moments later, her vision distorted, and she blacked out. Revived by a set medic, she completed the day's shooting and became the series' beloved villain. But the true villain, as usual, was overdressing for the weather. More than one episode was based on Bonanza. Michael Landon shot the famous Little Joe, the youngest of the Cartwright family, on 14 seasons of the hit Western series Bonanza, but he also wrote and directed multiple episodes for that show. And when he co-created Little House, he took some of Bonanza's ideas with him. Some episodes of Little House bore a striking resemblance to Bonanza episodes, down to the plot, dialogue, titles, and even camera angles. Most famously, in a 1970 Bonanza episode, A Matter of Circumstance, Joe is injured after he is kicked by a horse and tries to deal with the fall out of his injury while alone at home. He tries to amputate his hand, but passes out before he can finish. In the 76 Little House on the Prairie episode, A Matter of Faith, Carolyn cuts her leg while home alone and struggles to take care of the infection while waiting for her family to return. She tries to amputate her leg, but passes out before she can finish. Both episodes were also written by B.W. Sanford and directed by William Claxton. While other episodes weren't such direct remakes, they did borrow ideas from Bonanza. The Bonanza episode, A Dream the Dream, served as an inspiration for Little House's episode, Someone Please Love Me, while Bonanza's He Was Only 7 provided the material for Little House's He Was Only 12. Nellie Olson's wig made Allison Ingram's head bleed. At first, Nellie Olson's dramatic hairdo was her own. She slept in curlers every night and show up to set at 4:30 a.m. so that the hairdressers with curling irons could get the look right. Deciding this was not sustainable, the costume department designed Nellie's famous wig, but that wasn't always smooth sailing either. To make sure that elaborate wig stayed in place for the entire episode, it was secured with a large number of bobby pins and metal comb. And yes, it hurt all day, she wrote. There was no point at which it felt comfortable, or when I didn't turn my head a certain way and feel the pins dig in. However, on long filming days, or days when Nellie got into one of them famous tussles, the comb and the pins would dig in and cut the scalp in places. On those days, if I ran my hand through my hair and rubbed my scalp, then I pulled my hand out, there would be little flecks of blood on it. When that happened, the set hairdresser would run out and disinfect her head with sea breeze astringent. A producer quit the show because he thought the Ingalls were too fancy. The Ingalls family certainly lived rougher than most of us would like to, using an outhouse in a Minnesota winter. But for producer Ed Friendly, the family had too swanky a lifestyle, in comparison with the books at least. Friendly, who was an original producer of the show, told People magazine in '74 that Landon and other producers had made too many changes from giving Ingalls kids shoes because Landon supposedly didn't want them to be the poorest kids in town, moving the clan from a sod house to a framed house because one NBC boob said, "I find it depressing to live in a sod house." Friendly claimed, "I've renamed the series How Affluent Is My Prairie. They have everything but a Cadillac." Friendly, who created Rowan and Martin's Lap-In, left the series before it ever aired, and it seemed to do just fine in his absence. And those Walnut Grove kids were probably very happy they got to wear shoes. They were dealing with enough other problems. I love that show. I love Little House on the Prairie. I found out a lot of stuff about Michael Landon I don't like now. I really knocked my respect for him down a peg or two. Because just a peg or two, because I really don't know how much his son's putting out his truth or not. But it's just kind of sad. But I love the show, Little House, and I always will. What about you guys? You like Little House? And once again, I need recommendations of shows you want to hear about, so I don't bother with like the Partridge Family and stuff again that you don't care about. Just hit me in the comment section the stuff you want me to do. Anyway, that's all I got for you here. You guys have a great day. God bless you. And as always, I'm praying for you.